And our next guest is someone whose company has had a long-standing relationship with the Pakistan pharmaceutical sector. And it is a great pleasure to welcome to the stage Dennis Hall. He is Vice President for Advanced Manufacturing Technologies. He's a key leader at United States Pharmacopeia. And just to remind you quickly that Mr. Hall will be taking questions from the audience at the end of his keynote. So please do, if you don't mind. You don't mind. I'm just throwing you under the bus there. So if you, as you listen, if you have any questions, we will have about 5 minutes at the end. But yes, please join me in welcoming Dennis Hall.
So thank you very much for inviting me to this, this just amazing day that we have. And I do have to say that this is the most number of microphones I have ever done a presentation in front of. Probably not for me, for the others this morning. Thank you. So in typical style for myself, I have prepared way more slides than I can get through in the next 20, 25 minutes. So I'm going to go relatively quickly through them. But I also will make them available for anyone that wants to go into a little bit more detail. The task that I was assigned today was to take a slightly different tact than what you've heard already this morning and look at advanced manufacturing technologies that could be applicable fairly quickly. And so through this presentation, I'm hopefully will leave you with a couple of goals for yourselves within your own pharmaceutical companies on where to advance. So. Okay? Oh, there it is. Sorry. Looking in the wrong place. I apologize. So. Doesn't seem to be advancing. Maybe. That's okay. It's fine. I can do my talk without the slides, and it'll probably go faster anyway. So like I said, I will make these available to the entire audience afterwards. So first off, I will, I do want to say that I am here representing the United States Pharmacopeia, but all of what I'm going to be talking about today should be considered my thoughts and recommendations. They also don't represent any official interpretation from the United States Pharmacopeia. So for those who are not familiar with USP, we are a not-for-profit, non-governmental organization that has the mission to establish standards and programs to support quality of medicines around the world. We're the only pharmacopoeia in the world that is not part of their resident government, and so we're independent from FDA, but we do work very closely with them. And we do work with regulators and manufacturers around the world. So from that perspective, the department that I am currently overseeing was put in place about 4 years ago in order to look at manufacturing technology specifically and to make sure that we're helping those companies that are looking at those advanced technologies implement them in a quality way, even if those technologies are not yet ubiquitous. And that's been a rather interesting challenge for myself within my team, and being in an organization that's 200 plus years old, you can imagine trying to be entrepreneurial in such a place can hold some interesting challenges. But today I want to focus on those manufacturing technologies that I perceive are readily available and applicable within the industry within Pakistan. So when looking at the, Sorry, I didn't realize they were moving my slides for me, so I was just kind of talking. I think it's going to be easier. If you wouldn't mind, I'll just talk through my presentation and not worry about the slide transition. Thank you. In looking at the field of advanced manufacturing technologies, these cover a wide range of technologies that can be applied within the pharmaceutical industry. And they cover unique unit operations, unique dosage forms, unique ways of both doing chemistry as well as the engineering necessary for finished dosage form production. As mentioned earlier, the field of biologics itself is an advanced technology, but even within that, there are additional advanced technologies that are becoming much more readily apparent. Within USP, we've worked with a variety of those, including 3D printing, continuous manufacturing, et cetera. One of the most exciting ones for me as a physicist is microgravity manufacturing, which I'm not going to suggest here because this is very, very cutting edge stuff, about doing pharmaceutical manufacturing essentially in space. And so the fantastic things you can do with not having to worry about gravity, especially in crystal formation, has been really fascinating. But I'll put that to a side. That's probably a 15-year objective within the industry at this point. So I want to talk today about what makes all of those things I've just described what's common amongst them. Whether you're talking about 3D printing or continuous manufacturing of drug substances or drug products, automation, personalized medicine, distributed manufacturing, whatever those various advanced manufacturing technologies we're talking about, they tend to have three specific things in common. One is that they all enable a much deeper understanding of your manufacturing process, especially through the use of process analytical technologies. Two, they can all benefit from the AI and machine learning and advanced computing capabilities that are coming into the industry. We often hear quite a lot about the application of AI in drug discovery, but there's a considerable amount of benefit if applying similar processes to the amount of data you can look at in your manufacturing process and make real-time decisions around that. And the third is for all of them to be successful, you must have a much deeper understanding of the materials and the material properties in which those technologies are being used, probably more so than a traditional batch manufacturing system. So I'm going to take the third one. I'm also going to set that one aside because the rest of what I want to talk about has to do with the marriage of process analytical technologies with advanced computing, and in particular, the area of continuous manufacturing, which is, in my opinion, one that the Pakistan industry is primed and ready to move into, whether you're talking about onshoring your API production through flow chemistry, or improving the consistency of quality that you can show in finished dosage form manufacturing, especially through continuous direct compression. So the reason I say that is has to do with the costs associated with materials and labor and facilities. The application of continuous manufacturing has been shown to be able to reduce greatly the cost of raw materials and APIs into a system as much as 25 to 85%, depending on which product you're looking at. The facility costs, because these have a much smaller and a much smaller footprint and can be customized and recustomized fairly quickly. That has been shown to have reductions of about 50% over a traditional system. And the downside, which probably isn't really a downside, the labor costs tend to, right now, be higher than normal by about 30%. The reason for that is things that were talked about earlier, of having to have mathematicians who know chemistry and biology, or pharmaceutical engineers who know how to do the modeling. That tends to be a higher skilled position, and therefore that raises some of the overall labor costs associated with it. But taken together, this has a great opportunity to reduce costs, and I'm not going to advocate that one would reduce price, but to improve your own profitability, being able to pull costs out of that system is really going to be important. But then for the purpose of the vision for Pakistan to become an exporter, the fantastic capability of understanding the process that you're using and to be able to show that to a regulator in a way that they've never seen before. I know of one particular system that USP has been working with that can do a 100% quality inspection. So just think about that for a second. They can do in real time a measurement on every single tablet that is being pressed and make a decision about whether it meets quality standards or not. Now, one doesn't necessarily have to go to that level of extreme in these continuous manufacturing systems, but if one can go to a filing as you're trying to do an export and say that I am doing even 10 times the amount of testing that you do normally within a batch manufacturing process, and here's my models that show using AI and machine learning that I'm establishing excellent quality, the regulatory approval process will be a lot smoother for you. Now, there's some caveats on there. Depends on which market you're going into, et cetera. If you're trying to go into the US market, these types of approaches we've seen to be highly applicable and very successful, especially because FDA has the emerging technologies team that essentially helps any organization that wants to apply one of these advanced technologies along with the advanced processing power. So, from a perspective of where I see the investment that the industry should look at, I highly suggest that everyone look into various continuous manufacturing systems. I am working right now with the University of Maryland, and we're examining the application of continuous manufacturing from a financial risk perspective. And one of the most fascinating results of that analysis has shown that from a banking or investment perspective, it is better to apply continuous manufacturing in a greenfield plant in the United States, which, by the way, has the highest cost base probably out, with the exception of maybe parts of Europe. It's better to do that from a financial risk perspective than invest in new batch manufacturing plants in India or in China. And so if that can be the financial risk, the lowest financial risk aspect for new investment in the United States, I can only imagine what the competitive advantage an industry like Pakistan can have by applying these technologies sooner. As mentioned earlier, wanting to differentiate yourselves. I highly recommend differentiating on quality and the applicability of these new manufacturing systems. How do I know that this is possible in a market similar to Pakistan? Well, the United States Pharmacopoeia is actively working in South Africa as well as Uzbekistan on this very process. A bit in Kazakhstan too, but that's gotten on a little bit of a slower start. So in South Africa, we are helping both SAPRA, the regulator, as well as manufacturers develop an API industry. Not expand an API industry, actually develop from scratch. Very limited API capability within country. And we've seen some fantastic successes in where that has been going by applying continuous flow technology to their API industry. For Pakistan, the fact that you already have a established base is very important. You can then go faster and farther from an API standpoint. In Uzbekistan, we're helping there both in some respects on the API side, but on the finished dosage form side, looking at these newer capabilities such as continuous direct compression, where they'll be able to apply, it'll take a little bit longer in Uzbekistan than we're doing in South Africa, but the proof case is still there. As well as applying these new technologies throughout the United States as well as in Europe. And so I have a high confidence that an industry that has the intelligence base, has the basic understanding of the infrastructure necessary on both APIs and an advanced understanding on finished dosage forms, can take the next step into looking at these various advanced manufacturing technologies and applying them as you're growing. Finally, I want to leave you with a couple of words of warning associated with applying API and machine learning within your processes. The use of artificial intelligence or advanced modeling for machine learning is something that we've all heard a lot about within the industry, and there's been a bit of hype associated with it. My word of warning is that those systems do not replace basic content knowledge and do not replace the expertise that are necessary to understand your manufacturing system. Because if you don't have that, the models that you're going to be producing are essentially not going to work. We've actually seen that a couple examples in the United States where they certain companies went too far too fast in that space and didn't have that base understanding. That's in addition as to why I think the Pakistan industry is ripe to be able to apply that. That base of understanding and content knowledge is really quite prevalent within your industry. So, and with that, that's my advice, is to look specifically at advanced manufacturing technologies, and in particular, flow chemistry within API, and continuous direct compression, and similar technologies within the dosage form, and push the envelope of quality. Because if you can push the envelope of quality, it'll make your exports considerably more attractive, differentiate yourselves, as well as improving the quality of the products you're producing for your domestic market.